Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves another 7-game series. First, it was the Boston Celtics and Toronto Raptors. Now it's the Los Angeles Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. I am so shocked that this series is going 7 games. Just when you think a plot and the plot thickens. Los Angeles Clippers were up 19 points in this game. Sort of like how they were up 16, 17 points in Game 5. In the third quarter, they were up 19 points. And they proceeded to blow a 19-point lead and then lose 111 to 98. So lose by about 13 points. It's just inexplicable. It's inexplicable. It's crazy to think that the Clippers just played a 6-game series with the Dallas Mavericks. Really got lucky because Porzingis got hurt, so let's just say Porzingis doesn't get hurt. Maybe we go even further down the line. Now they transition to a series against the Denver Nuggets. And the Nuggets, down 3-1, erase a 3-1 deficit and a 19-point lead in today's Game 6 and push it to a Game 7. Nikola Jokic said it best. All the pressure's on the Clippers. The Clippers now are going to have to prove themselves. Jeff Van Gundy had a very poignant point when he was talking about the Clippers. They need to learn how to lift their spirit. Not only that, they seem like they are a front-running team. When he said that, it clicked. He said that, it clicked. The Clippers, if there's nothing on the line, they could play really good. Even if they're down like 1-2 or a series is tied 2-2, sort of like it was when they played Dallas Mavericks, so everything is good. When it was closeout time, things are on the line, people's palms get sweaty. Like Stephen A. Smith like to say, guys get little sphincteritis. Like B-Ball Breakdown likes to say, sphincteritis. And it's true. You see this. They can tend to be a little front-running. Look at this. Landry Shamet, 1 point. Patrick Beverley, 2 points. Montrezl Harrell, like 5 points. Everybody on the Clippers, I believe they maybe had, Jermichael Green had double figures and one other player. Everybody else either had 0 or 1 to 3 points. That was a supporting cast. Because they were shocked within themselves. They were front-running. When they saw that the Nuggets went on that 17-2 or whatever the run was, they were like, oh, shit, like, what are we going to do? Even Lou Williams, he had 14, but it wasn't even a good 14 because he was struggling throughout the game. Kawhi Leonard had about 25, 8, and 6. Paul George, he goes for 33. 9 for 21. 9 for 21. It's not good. It's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. Kawhi Leonard, 8 for 18. I mean, even though that's not like the best, that's still better than 9 for 21. But when Jokic hit, like I believe it was a 3 to push it to like a 10 or 11 point lead, 13-point lead, Kawhi Leonard rebooted. You saw the look on his face, like the overload, system overload, must reboot, and then he just like went to the bench like, this is crazy. This is crazy. You saw the look on his face. I never seen a look in Kawhi's face like this before. Like, he was looking at himself like, what is wrong with my team? And that goes to back to that front-running nature. The Clippers do have a front-running nature where they like to talk smack. They like to bully people when they feel like they're down. When they're not down, you don't see any of that bullying. You don't see any of that talking from Morris. You don't see none of that stuff when the score is tied. The score is tied or the series is tied. You don't see that. But when they feel like they're gonna win, that's when their BA white boy comes out. That's when Morris calling people B's and all that, and pushing people and thugging people. Papoose used to call it thuggication. This pivotal Game 7 lets us know everything we need to know about the Clippers and the Nuggets. If the Nuggets pull this off and become the only team to go down 3-1 in consecutive series and go to the Western Conference Finals, that just shows you that this team is like one of the most resilient teams of all time. And you got to think about Jokic had 34. Jamal Murray had 20-something. The guy that was talking the most shit, Michael Porter Jr., he had 13 points, but a big 13, especially coming off the bench, playing well and efficient. If these guys are able to knock off the Clippers, this is like catastrophic. This is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing that we're ever seeing. This is crazy, especially no suspensions, no nothing. And they come back from 3-1 consecutively in consecutive series, no suspensions, no injuries involved. This is one of the most impressive feats you gotta see ever in basketball history. Then when you're looking at the Clippers, it's just like, what is your problem? You know, if you don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it. The Clippers didn't study the history. They have never closed out a team in conference finals history. And the only thing they kept saying is, that team wasn't us. That wasn't us. I wasn't here at that time. That wasn't me. Now that's you. You had, oh shoot. You had two chances already to close out the Nuggets, and you were unable to do so. This third chance, what are you going to do? This is you now. And so if you don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it. I would love to see the comeback, but then again, I would love to see Kawhi against LeBron in the Western Conference Finals. So I'm conflicted. But this is a bad stain on Doc Rivers and getting those guys motivated. I think, and this is my own personal opinion, I think the Clippers are tired. And that whole situation with Kawhi coming over there and taking load management, and now Paul George and having to be the second fiddle sometimes has to initiate the offense and really sometimes be the Batman to Kawhi's, be the Robin to Kawhi's Batman, but sometimes Paul George has to take over and become like, he has to become Batman sometimes, or Nightwing, so to speak. He has to take over games, and he's unable to do that. He's unable to do that in the series. So there's a lack of confidence. There's a front-running possibility in terms of attitude, a front-running attitude. Also, there's fatigue. There's fatigue there. Nobody can tell me that there's not fatigue there. There's fatigue there. They're playing back-to-back-to-back games. They're not like two spaced out games, even though they say there's no travel. But if you're playing every other day, that wears on your body. And the Clippers, you gotta understand this: they're not the youngest team in the NBA. They're not the oldest team in the NBA, but they're damn sure ain't the youngest. And they're playing against a team that has been down before. They thrive off it. All they play is fast break basketball. And you saw the Clippers in their drought. They couldn't get fast break points. They couldn't get anything easy because I think they were tired. I think they're tired. Pressure's on the Clippers. I know Kawhi's gonna show up. I don't know about Paul George. Paul George is one of those enigmas where he plays good throughout the regular season, and then big time games, he's getting waved by Damian Lillard. Mike D'Antoni let the Houston Rockets know he is not returning. He's gonna exercise free agency in the coaching field. And one of the key head coaching jobs that he wants to do is be the coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. Here's my thing with Mike D'Antoni. He quit on the Knicks. You guys remember that. He was going to get fired. He quit on the Knicks. Everything fell on Carmelo's shoulders. Everybody was like, Carmelo was this, Carmelo was that. D'Antoni quit on the Knicks. Moving on. Goes to the Lakers. Coaching Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard. He quit on them too. Goes to Houston Rockets. Oh, no. Before both of those jobs, let's go to the Suns. Let's take it to the Suns. He was head coach of the Suns. Really great. Every year, they'll go ham, have all these crazy records in the record books. And every single time, they'll be like, have 60 games, win 60 games, 55 games, and lose in the conference final or semifinals and stuff like that. He quit on the Suns. Steve Kerr said, please let Tom Thibodeau be your defensive coach, be a defensive head coach assistant. Then Tony said, no, I'm out of here. Go to the Knicks, I'm out of here. Go to the Lakers, I'm out of here. Go to the Rockets. Things don't go the way he wants them to. Hey, we were one game away from going to the Western Conference, going to the NBA Finals. 3 years in a row. Didn't do nothing. Diddly squat. He gets essentially quit. He quits on that team, quits on that project, quits on that experiment. He's out of there. And this is my problem with Mike D'Antoni. He may be a Hall of Fame coach. He may have a Hall of Fame system. May have been a really great basketball player. You know, Kobe idolized him. when he was out in Italy. Mike D'Antoni is a Hall of Fame quitter as well. Let's call a spade a spade. He's a Hall of Fame quitter. He quits on people. He quits on situations, people, things when he feels that it's not going in his way. You can't quit on the Houston Rockets when they did everything to acquiesce to you. They got rid of Clint Capella because of Mike D'Antoni. They got rid of Marshall Mabute and Trevor Ariza because of Mike D'Antoni. They want guys that can shoot threes and push the pace. Mike D'Antoni pushed James Harden as the point guard, thinking everything's all good. Everybody's praising him and applauding him. Now James Harden gets to the playoffs. He can't do anything because he's tired. Because he's playing the point guard position when he's really a 2. But, we're just going to ignore that. We're just going to gloss that under the rug. That's neither here nor there. We're going to ignore that. Guys, Mike D'Antoni comes through. He gets the GM to believe in him, the owners to believe in him. He shakes things up unconventionally, and then he leaves them with a mess. You can't get rid of Clint Capella and become one of the smallest teams in the NBA, expect to win a championship with that kind of style of basketball. Putting PJ Tucker at the 5. Alienating all the other guys. You had Chris Paul there. Guys trade him because he doesn't really fit in the system. He doesn't gel with James Harden. But he probably was one of the key guys. You saw where he took the Rockets to 7 games. He's one of the key guys that if he stuck with James Harden and they ever learned how to gel, that would be something that they could actually build on and actually push the team to win. So they made a lot of mistakes, but the biggest mistake was D'Antoni. And I don't know if James Harden kind of said, like, I'm kind of tired of this, or if Daryl Morey saw that this wasn't working. But guess what? None of it matters because he's out of there. He said, fuck y'all, I'm out of here. And the worst part about it is he wants to go to the Philadelphia 76ers. They can't play run and gun. They got Joel Embiid. They got Ben Simmons. 2 guys that are consistent three-point shooters. The Sixers got rid of all their three-point shooters. What are you going to do there? What are you going to do there? I just don't know why. Mike D'Antoni, I guess this is what Stephen A. means about privilege, white privilege, or whatever the case is. He's saying that a guy like Mike D'Antoni can screw up over and over and over and over and over again. He can screw up everywhere. But a guy like Mark Jackson, they screw up everywhere and get a job. But a guy like Mark Jackson, he can't get a job. It's hard for him to get a job because he is a man of faith. He didn't screw up as much as somebody else, or a Nate McMillan, or, a Fizdale. These guys don't screw up as much everywhere else, but they can't get a damn job. That don't make no sense to me. I guess that's what he's talking about, privilege. But this is ridiculous. Like, I'm in shock and awe that somebody like Mike D'Antoni could continue to get jobs as a head coach because of regular season accolade, but never could push it through in the postseason. Makes no sense to me at all.